I wanted to discuss two things with you today, my friends, and namaste. Thank you for your time. The first one is a letter I got, a beautiful email from somebody I had a one-on-one with. And I asked this being permission to share it because it touched me so much and because I feel it can be so beneficial to so many of you. The path to self-realization, the path to awakening, to the truth of who we are is not an easy path. At least I'm just speaking from my own personal experience. It was a very difficult path because I wanted so badly to wake up. I wanted to end the suffering that I had created a lot for myself. Little did I know that, but anyway, that's the whole point of all of these videos. So I want to offer this as an encouragement so you can, if this is really in your heart and in your intuition and this feels right and it resonates with you, everything that I'm saying, then wonderful. Then maybe that's just what's meant to be at this time in your life. If this is not resonating, if this doesn't make any sense to you, that's totally fine as well. The number one thing I want you to do is never believe in a single word I say and never let anybody tell you what the truth is. Why? Because the truth is always within yourself. It's only within yourself. You can only find it within yourself. All I can do is point to it. And if it resonates and you intuitively feel that it sounds right to you, then follow your heart. That's the power of the heart over the mind. And that's what happens when you wake up, is you become completely intuitive. The mind-made identity, once it's seen through, once it totally dissolves, once that ego, once the concept you have of who you think you are is gone, like I was mentioning my friend this morning, I had a phone call, a beautiful call with a dear friend in the UK. And she was explaining to me a couple of the, daily issues she's having, etc., family stuff. And she was saying, it's amazing how I'm now just able to observe and not get so caught in the stories of the me, and realizing that the me was the one that's creating so many of my problems. I want to share this letter. This is very encouraging, and hopefully this helps you. Hi, thanks for checking in. I'm doing well, working with awareness of resistance. That has been a great teaching for me. In the past 24 hours, I came down with a cold, and it was particularly useful to not mentally resist the symptoms, which I realize is just the immune system at work. Wonderful. So I've been resting in bed, a bit ill, but very lighthearted and not suffering! Exclamation point. I also have experienced a shift in which I am much less identified with the little me, much less convinced that I'm a body-mind only. I have felt a lot of ease in the past week, many surprising instances where I did not lapse into conditioned reactions. What a relief! Exclamation point. Yes, what a relief. With no effort applied, just going with the flow. I feel like there is more resting and awareness and much less frustration. I'm letting this awakening unfold. Thanks to your encouragement, I have also begun to see the beauty in others more. My heart is touched, realizing how we've been limited ourselves. So thank you so much. This is beautiful. 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 I was telling my brother the other day, if I can only help one person, the whole point of this channel, even if I can just help one person, help them see clearly who they are, the truth of who they are, which brings all the byproduct of that is the peace, is the love, is the eternal bliss, in a sense, because you realize you're everything. And going back to that conversation with my friend this morning, we were talking about how any given situation, she was reading The Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle, a beautiful book. If you haven't, please read it. That's one of my favorite books, one of the best books that I've read in my life. That's kind of what started this journey many, 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 many years ago. And we were talking about how if you have because she's having an issue with her car, okay, and we could very easily just to start to go into stories and make a big deal out of it and calling our friends and focusing on the stories of the mind and creating more stories. So basically calling our friend, can you believe what happened to me today? You won't believe this car, and then and this, and now you're building up the story, you're building up your own stress, you're building up your own anxiety through that. And then you call another friend, you know what happened to me? My car, da da da. There's fundamentally really nothing wrong with that unless you want to keep suffering, unless you want to keep struggling, because you create your own suffering that way. Just like the great enlightened being Nisargadatta Maharaj said to one of his disciples who told him, you know, Master, I'm experiencing suffering. He said, no, you're not. You're suffering, you're experiencing. We create our own experience of our suffering. Who is the we? Who is the I that creates that? That's what you need to find out. It's like if you want to pull out a tree, or let's say a root, a plant, right, that unfortunately died, or whatever happened, you need to pull it out. You don't just chop the top of it. You have to pull out the whole. You're pulling out the whole roots. You don't see the roots. The roots is the ego. It's underground. It's been so conditioned. It's been so programmed that it's become so protective of itself, but it's a total illusion. How? Why? Just look for it. Look for who you think you are. Look for it. Look for the person you think you are. And this leads me to another question. I had another question on a comment, and I thought it was very, very relevant and very powerful. This was more of an advanced being in the sense of their understanding. And they say, I understand non-duality. Gangaji's videos for more than 20 plus years. Gangaji was a disciple of Papaji. Papaji, disciple of Ramana Maharshi. So it's kind of the Maharshi lineage. And then I've been talking a lot about Ramana Maharshi, about self-inquiry, which is one of the main things that did it for me. So he says, I understand non-duality. Gangaji's videos from 20 plus years ago were phenomenal at letting me glimpse myself as awareness. However, I don't seem to abide as awareness, and when I do, it feels more like emptiness than expansiveness. I love this question because I am totally experienced that. I totally experienced that, my friend. How did I experience that? I experienced that when I intellectually, mentally understood awakening. But I still hadn't seen through the me. I understood everything, but I hadn't seen universal consciousness. I hadn't experienced universal consciousness and the absolute total dissolution of the ego, body, mind, identity. I thought I had. I thought I was awake. And then I was telling people, this doesn't feel that great. This is just, there's nothing here. To the person, there's nothing here. To the person, this is boring. To the person, they need that stimulation. The person is not real, though. My recommendation in this case, my dear friend, go back, because the personal identity can be very deceitful. It hides in little corners. Sometimes it comes out when you least expect it, and it shows its face. The personal ego starts coming in, and you start to feel that energy. It has a low vibration to it. Have you noticed that? The personal identity? It's a vibration of neuroticism. It's a vibration of discomfort. And you can always tell. So, for example, once in a blue moon, I will still start to feel that little personal, it wants to start, but it's immediately seen through. Just the vibration is starting to felt, and it's immediately cut off because I recognize that it's come to be seen, and it is a total illusion. It has no manifestation in this life anymore. This life has gone completely to the heart. It's totally intuitive. Nothing is thought about anymore. There's no more thinking. Thinking is important, of course, it's good, but thinking, the mind is a tool, just like our hands are a tool. It's good to do it's good to figure things out on a certain degree, but we have overused the mind in the sense that we have created our own identity out of a tool. There's a limitation to that. Little do we realize that beyond all of that, the duality of this existence was something we were not born with. You were not born with duality, thinking that you are a separate entity, body, mind, which we were conditioned to believe in. It's not true. See it for yourself. Go into self-inquiry. I want to be as direct as possible. And I'm talking already way too much. Direct, direct, direct. Who am I? Go somewhere quiet. Sit quietly and practice self-inquiry. Observe with detachment. That's why I read that first email, that first letter, because I want you to be encouraged by that. So, go back to basics. Because there only is basics. There's no such thing really as advanced. It's the senses that once you see it through, once you see that there's no person here, that it was all a fabrication of your mind, that it was a concept. Once you recognize that, again, if you had been any of your thoughts, when a thought is gone, you'd be gone as well. You are the witness of everything. You are this screen. There's a three-dimensional movie that's playing here. You're not the movie. You're the screen on which the movie is playing. And there are different kinds of movies. Some are romances, some are nightmares, some are terror, some are dramas. These are movies that are happening. And you're playing a character. You're playing a character in the movie. Part of the seeing when you really wake up is you see that it's crystal clear. It's crystal clear. It took me a long time to see that. But it's so liberating because it doesn't affect you. If a building is burning in the movie, is that burning the screen of the movie? Does the screen of the movie get burned? No. It's very intimate. It's right on top of it, but it doesn't get burned. Everything that's ever happened in your life has passed. It sounds obvious, but really, put that to your intuition. Everything that's ever happened has passed. Every single thought you've ever had is gone now. Every single emotion is gone now, unless you pay attention to it, unless you start thinking about it, unless you give attention to it. Why? Because attention is your greatest power. Use it discernibly. Realize that that's your gift, is your attention. Because you are the ultimate witness. You're observing everything, and you cannot be what you observe. So once you see that this is not a dual, three-dimensional, time-based reality, which is just concepts. Those are just concepts. Realize that. Once the concepts collapse, then you don't experience this as just nothing. Let me read it again. It doesn't just feel like emptiness. Yes, it is empty. But that expansiveness that you're looking for is already inherently within you. You already are complete. You already are whole. What is missing right now? What is missing right now? You probably have to go to your mind, right? If you don't go to your mind, realize that. If you don't go to your mind, which is just based on conditioning, and you think, oh, I really wish I had. These are conditioned thoughts. These are programmed. You were not born with that. Realize that, my friends. Have a beautiful day. Have a blessed day.